unsure how to tell my mom why I'm moving out. My 22F mom, 60F, has emotionally abusive tendencies. I live with her and only her, and she takes her anger out on me, is passive-aggressive, can't communicate or apologize, and just generally makes me feel depressed. I can't be in my own home without feeling like I'm walking on eggshells. This wasn't really a problem, well it was, but I brushed it aside / got used to it to the point where I didn't really have any emotional reaction, until I got into my first serious relationship. It was an objectively great relationship except for the fact that I continually hurt my ex, 24M, by doing a lot of the same things that she does to me and not having much self-awareness. This is ultimately what ended the relationship after several years. I'm in therapy now, trying to heal. However, it's difficult when I continue to live with my mum and I become more and more aware of her behavior and how much it affects me. I have no intention of salvaging my relationship with my ex, however, I'm terrified of hurting others in the future the same way she hurts me without even realizing it. I've tried to bring it up to her and or call her out on her behavior, but she shuts me off and ignores me for the rest of the day. It makes me very upset and there has always been a huge emotional barrier between us. My ex and my therapist both advised me to move out for the sake of my mental health as well as developing my independence. She doesn't want me to leave. I have all my needs taken care of here, food, don't have to pay rent, etc., so she doesn't understand why I would pay when I could just live with her seemingly forever. I have a decent amount saved up and have a solid financial plan for the future. She seems to be fine with me staying in the house and her being the one to leave, although she keeps saying she'll do that but nothing ever happens, been going on for many years. She knows that I'm moving out for a real reason. I didn't say this, but she can tell, but I doubt she has any idea what it is. She's hinted that she thinks it's because I'm a lesbian and I'm too afraid to come out, or because I'm somehow secretly a stoner. This just shows me how little self-awareness she has. Does anyone have any advice for how I can approach a talk with her about moving out? Start tearing up just thinking about how emotional I'll get when I finally tell her. Just recently, I have come across the perfect opportunity to move much closer to my university with someone I already know and trust, and if this person chooses me, I know I'll 100% move in with her. Too long didn't read. Mom has emotional problems that she has refused to fix or acknowledge. I want to move out. Mom doesn't understand why. Need help on how to talk about it. Edit. She doesn't know the specific reason why my ex and I broke up. She knows it was because of me but she doesn't know what specifically. It's time for me to live on my own. Rinse, repeat. Just tell her you need space to develop your independence. I would say tell her the truth, but you said you already tried that and she ignores you. Sorry, I should have said that I already told her that and she doesn't accept it as a reason. She's continuing to get more and more anxious about this current plan that I have that might go through. I haven't told her that my therapist told me it's a good idea too. Maybe that would help her take it more seriously. Look, you are not responsible for making your mother understand or be okay with your reasons. If you have stated your reasons why, however vague you might have put it, that's entirely enough. I recently moved out of my father's and he was acting similarly about my move out. I was terrified of telling him and doing so also prompted some really nasty comments from him. Mostly, why would you move to an expensive apartment when you can live here for free? Or you are creating a lot of problems for me by moving out, to which I just told him I'm not. He doesn't have to like it, but I'm not doing anything to him by moving out and I've decided that we both need the space. At one point he said, I'm so ashamed of you. I consider that I've lost my daughter. It's emotional abuse and it fucking gets to me, but removing myself from the situation has helped me be able to set healthier boundaries with him already, and he has already come around to the idea, saying it's so good for both of us and he's really happy I did this for myself. You gotta stop pleasing and you gotta stop negotiating. Parents do not react in logical and reasonable emotional patterns, so don't try and play the field like they do. First, get your new apartment arranged. When everything is set and you've picked out your new spot, then you tell her you're an adult and you need to grow independently. When you tell her I'm going to look for a new place, she's going to find reasons for you to not go. When you say I'm moving out in 2 weeks, it's a fact and you have everything arranged already. She then has no reason to argue over why, because she's going to be preoccupied by the when. Move your sentimental stuff you don't want her to keep hostage to a safe place before this convo. This is never going to be a comfy conversation. Sounds like your mother has problems and she's taking it out on you. That's confronting and ugly for her. So, just don't have a conversation about the why. I would just say to secure everything important to you, birth certificate, SSN card, keepsakes, before you rip off the bandage. You wouldn't want her to take out her anger on something you care about. In terms of the convo itself, you can just be matter of fact. I found a great place and I'm going to move out on this date. Since you've already told her why and she won't accept it, don't bother going into all that again. I bet your therapist can help you role-play the situation so you feel more emotionally prepared. Even if your mom wasn't difficult, it's normal for a 22-year-old to want to live independently. There doesn't need to be a reason and your mom doesn't get a vote. My 28 meters girlfriend, 26F, is obsessed with cryptocurrencies and I don't know what to do. My girlfriend has become obsessed with cryptocurrencies over the past couple of months and it is grating on me. Each conversation descends into a discussion about which coins are doing well and are going to take off soon. We could be having a nice, normal conversation and she will drop in Ethereum is up 7% randomly and I won't hear from her till much later. It's also got to the point where she has started using crypto lingo like to the moon and adding rocket smileys. I don't know what to do but I feel like cryptocurrencies are destroying our relationship. Help, too long didn't read. Girlfriend is obsessed with cryptocurrencies and will not talk about anything else. Sounds like a gambling addiction. People may downvote me for this, and that's fine. But crypto is inherently speculative with the capability for huge upswings and downswings, which make it very similar to traditional gambling. It seems as if she is chasing the high of getting a big return, and that she is prioritizing it over you and your relationship. There are two things that you should consider. 1. How much money is she throwing into crypto hoping for a huge return? 2. Does this obsessive behavior bode well for your future with her? Sounds like she's trying to figure out if you have paper hands. Just tell her. I got my BF into investing after asking him for months. For a month or so after that, he thought he was the goddamn Wolf of Wall Street. It was irritating, same as you said. Every conversation was stock prices, DD on companies I don't even hold so I didn't even care. He'd be glued to aftermarket, he'd agonize over every decision, every CEO, every product launch. I was at the end of my rope. So one day I just said, hey, I like that you're invested now, but it's becoming hard to talk to you. Can we limit market chatter to an hour a day? Since we're mature adults that's what we did and actually it's even less now. Since we don't talk about it so often, it's much easier to be interested in the conversations about it too, and easier for us to actually strategize our investments. Just talk to her and tell her how you feel. That goes for literally anything, by the way. Have you expressed this to your girlfriend as well? If so, how did she react? Does she see where you're coming from and is she willing to compromise? If you haven't talked to her about it yet, I'd suggest doing so. I'm not sure about the right approach, but something along the lines of how you love talking to her and hearing about her newfound passion with cryptocurrencies can be fun, but only to a certain extent, and that you'd like to broaden the topics of your conversations like before. Also ask where the sudden love, don't say obsession, for cryptocurrencies came from, so you can understand better where her mind is at and maybe suggest changes based on that. If you did talk to her about it already and she isn't open to change, or isn't actually executing whatever agreed upon changes, I would say that as soon as she only brings up the topic, to cut the conversation short and politely tell her you're not interested in this subject at that moment and would like to talk about something else, like X or Y. I hope this helps a bit. Smile. Best of luck. If it were an issue of you being worried about her being frivolous with money, that would make sense. However, this sounds like you're just annoyed that she's become passionate about something. You have two options. 1. Get over it. Wait for the obsession to pass, and if it doesn't, learn to live with it. 2. Talk to her about it. Tell her you're bored of hearing about it so often and ask if you can talk about other things sometimes. And for the love of all that is holy, don't make her feel bad for being passionate about something new. I've officially decided to cut my family off. After a lot of advice from people in this subreddit and people close to me, I've, F29, decided to cut my family off for good. Thank you. Honestly, the decision comes with a twinge of guilt but gives me so much relief at the same time. I guess that's melancholy. My parents kicked me out at 16. Well, tons of times before that, but the permanent one was when I was 16. I was mentally ill, bipolar. They told me to get on medication and I could be let back in. I got on medication, became a successful professional, and work on myself every single day, but they never truly let me back in. Every time I'd get mad they'd invalidate my feelings and tell me I'm still crazy. They'd cold shoulder me because they knew I was hungry for their approval. No one ever came to see me. I had to use my time and PTO if I ever wanted to see them. They recently planned a family reunion. My whole family except my sister lives in the town, and it would have been a rare chance to meet my new nephew. It would take me 12 or so hours to get there. They booked a flight for my sister without asking me my schedule. They knew I started a brand new job that got me out of a horrible situation that Monday. They were furious when they said I couldn't risk not making it home in time. So they called and screamed. They guilted. When that didn't work, they cut communication. They didn't even call to tell me my childhood horse and dog died within a few days of each other. I was getting sexually harassed at my old job. The people who knew checked in on me to make sure I was okay. Not a single call from my parents, who were in the very small group who knew. On my last day at that hellhole, I received so much support online and from friends, not a single call from my family. The day I started, so many cheered me on. Again, radio silence. They even came to Orlando a few days ago and didn't tell me until they were leaving. It all kind of dissolved me into a suicidal episode recently. I struggle with mental illness still, and intrusive thoughts are a thing, but I'm normally able to bat them away. I just felt broken, pointless, like I had no value. I'm lucky that my husband and best friends rallied around me to prop me up and watch me. I genuinely owe them my life. I've just realized that I'm an adult. I don't have to have a relationship. I don't have to be the only one trying. Trauma I've held onto from being abandoned has taken years of therapy to recognize, and I work every day to try and not impose it on my husband/friends. Why keep reintroducing that trauma to myself? I'm not even going to tell them unless I don't have to avoid the fight. I'm pretty sure that if I just stop talking to them, they'll never reach out to me. I can just stop trying and fade out of their lives. Thank you to everyone on here who helped me realize it. It was a big help to talk to people who could look at the situation with an outside perspective. Too long didn't read. I feel like I'm a new, much lighter person after deciding to end my relationship with my family. After years of trying to earn their approval and being rejected, I've decided to leave it all behind. Congratulations on your newfound freedom. Regardless of who started what, it sounds like your interactions with them were causing you a lot of pain. I'm glad you've made the decision to improve your life. I'm not religious, but I always liked the phrase "no prophet can preach in his hometown." Sometimes it's just better to cut your losses and forge new relationships without the baggage. I haven't heard that phrase before. It makes total sense.